All right, welcome to Tea Kada Bench Shots. This is episode number 11. Adi's here. Adi, say hello.
Hi guys. So yeah, we have another very special guest with us. She's Ashmita Athreya. I think better yet, she can introduce herself and their more like what she's here for. So how would you say? How would you explain what you do?
Hi, I'm Ashmita and I'm from the city. I'm from Chennai. And I'm part of an organization called Madras Inherited. Again, a quick, very brief intro to Madras Inherited. We are a heritage initiative based in the city. We conduct heritage walks in the city, but there's so much more apart from that we do. We also do heritage education, workshops, and outreach events. And of late, during the lockdown, especially, we've been trying to reach out to people on social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook and bring heritage closer to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Chennai has a very interesting culture, right? It's like a melting pot of different
Exactly.
cultures. Like we don't have like a separate culture. It's like a culture of everything, like bits and pieces of everything we put together and we made one culture. Like even our
Yeah,
language, yeah. So
it's like you can't define it in one line. You can't say like this is what Chennai's culture is or this is what Chennai's heritage is. So
Yeah,
that's what I personally find so much more interesting and like fun about the city.
yeah. But I think with Chennai culture, especially, like the best part is I think we have a culture. I lived in Sydney for a while, and the thing is, like, it felt so bland there. It's not that it was a melting point of all cultures because it was so multicultural. People from everybody was there. But I think that sort of neutralized it. The city was trying to find its voice constantly. Like
Yeah.
every different like every district had its own subculture, not subculture, but like smaller set of activities, and it sort of started feeling bland for a little bit. But Chennai is so active, you know what I mean? And there's a weird uniform, like it's like a spectrum of culture. Like if you go to OMR, you'll find a very modern city coming up with apartments and urbanization. But if you go to, like, I don't know, Besnagar, Malapur, you'll find these smaller suburban places, niche places to eat and popular places to eat. Uh, that's something very unique to Chennai, I think, because I haven't traveled a lot, but I love traveling to cities. Uh, but I think oftentimes the culture of the city gets neutralized because of its melting point nature. But I think Chennai has a distinct voice. It's like with Satyam Cinemas, Carnatic music, it's just everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Uh,
all of us sort of cried a little bit when PVR actually took over Satyam. Uh, but the immediate question was what happened to the
exactly.
popcorns? Like, do the
exactly.
popcorn stay? So I think that's even it's in the smallest thing that's what made Chennai's culture so unique.
Yeah. I'm a huge anti PVR campaigner. Like if you can find you can actually find my, if you go to SPI Cinemas Instagram page, every second post will have a comment. Don't lose Chennai's identity. What are you doing? Why are there PVR logos everywhere?
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, but like that's what I want to know, right? Like how does one like engage in culture? Like I don't know how to, because living here is engaging in culture, but if you want to take a more mindful approach to it, right? Maybe understand, like, how do you sort of see that, oh, there have been things before me that has led to this and I'm experiencing this today. How does, like, how do you sort of engage in that sort of a, like, how do you start engaging like that?
Uh, I mean, I've personally always been fascinated with the city, and I'm for all things old. So I love I love old buildings. I love old movies. In fact, music. So I'm still so my friends always tell me that I'm mentally so old. But I think that's something that you need. It starts with dissecting what you do every day. I mean, even if you go for a walk and right at the end of my street, there's a small shop that we call the Anachi Kada. So those are parts that make the part of the fabric of the city. So every locality would have that particular shop that you always go to, and your family has been going to for generations. And suddenly one day, if the shop were to disappear, there would be a huge hole. Like you wouldn't know what. I mean, it's just a shop. Like this, we I mean, I would say that all of us are now ordering via Dunzo or Amazon, but it's still that shop that makes the locality so unique. I think it's that. It's just dissecting and understanding what you do every day, and maybe taking a step back, pausing and having a look around, you would see that you're surrounded by so much. And that's what I think it's always the first step to actually understand where you're at and where you're from.
Yeah, I completely agree. Especially the Annachi Kada concept sentiment, because there's a shop right opposite us. It was called Fair Price Supermarket. They recently the same, nothing really changed. They just renamed it to convenience stores. The outrage in the family was amazing. They're like, "Hey, what is this?
What is this new? What is convenience about?
What is
the
convenience?"
name? Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like I live in Perangudi, so like it's not even like a social. It's not like a cool place. There are no cool restaurants and things like that. So the grocery store was the cool place where we all met up and bought Covin's milk and drank it and be like, "Yo, dude, we're cool boys." So the relevance of I get what you mean when even these smaller things play a larger role with the fabric of the city and the environment we live in. Completely get it.
And also the fact that you brought up Perungudi and the fact that it's not a cool place, but I think it definitely is, because that's also something we've come across when actually working with the city, is that people have the tendency to feel that certain areas are more historical, and so you associate that more with, say, history and heritage, but just the fact that you have all of these small things happening in every locality. Say, take Ambattur, take Avadi, like there's something happening everywhere. So it's about what culture that surrounds you, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be old.
Yeah, I get that. That's really beautiful.
Like when you talk about culture, right? Like we have like so many parts of culture in Chennai, like so many like pockets of culture. Like Mylapore has its own flavor, right? And like Roypeta has its own flavor, like Roypeta, and like North Madras side has such a British influence, and the Mylapore side has such a, how do you say it, like Tamil and the Aryan. What is your favorite pocket of, like, what are your favorite pockets of Chennai, both of you? Like one street that you never feel tired walking, something like that.
Oh, for me, it's hands down the Marina stretch. It's just not just for the beach. So it's also on what's on the other side of the beach. Like, people always fail to notice that you have these beautiful buildings just sitting on the beach, and especially during the night when you drive down the Marina stretch, which is going to take some time to happen. But when you drive down that stretch, you have all of these buildings beautifully lit on the other side, and they have so much history to speak. The Presidency College, for example, it was the first college in South India to be built, and it's still there, it's still running, but you always don't take that into note. You always look at the beach because that's more fun for you.
And also,
So,
Ice House.
Ice House, exactly. And it's so Ice House, I do have so this is something my friends have got tired of hearing, but so you know how the Ice House was actually built to bring in ice, like the name says, right? So right opposite to the Ice House, you have the beach and you have the shore, but you always notice when it rains, there's a puddle that forms right opposite the Ice House, because of years of bringing in the ice, the level there has somehow gone down. So whenever it rains, you can see that, or a puddle madri, it forms right opposite the Ice House. And I always keep pointing that out whenever I'm going by the stretch when it rains. It's something that's like super fascinating for me even now.
Okay, we'll go check it out.
Next time it rains, I will cycle down to the ice.
Yeah, we'll take a picture, tag Madras Inherited, and post it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wow,
yeah.
that is fascinating.
That's really cool. Yeah, it'll be fun. Like all the culture nuggets that's dropped in this episode, if we go take pictures of it and then we'll tag Madras Inherited, it'll be like cross promotion.
And it'll also be you learning something more about the city as well.
Like, do you know how long the Ice House was working? Like, how long did that puddle take to form?
Oh, so when they started with the Ice House, when they started bringing in ice, so they used to store it at the Ice House. But then what happened was they started building ice houses around the city. So again, another fun fact: there used to be one ice house right next to Albert Theatre.
Wow.
Yeah. So because once you find that a business is lucrative and it's bringing in money, a lot of people tend to start building upon it and have their own versions of it. So that's what happened, and then they realized that ice is something you can make it in India. You don't actually need to export it from elsewhere. So eventually, the building became unused, and now it's Vivekananda Limited.
Okay.
But it's beautifully lit up. The lights are very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think Chennai was lit up in the rain in the tricolors yesterday. I saw so many brilliant pictures. Like Radhakrishnan Sale, the bridge was lit up underneath they lit up the tricolors, and like it was so pretty to look at. Like the architecture and everything lit up in the three tricolors. So like like I have this one building, right? Like you know the Benz showroom, the Mercedes Benz showroom on
Oh
the
yeah,
opposite.
on Mount Road.
Yeah, on Mount Road. Oh my God, that
Okay.
building is so pretty. Like it's so beautiful. Like it's such a good mashup of modern technology with the glass panes and the old
Yeah.
technology of red sandstone. It's it's like the perfect building to represent Chennai. Only if it was painted yellow. If only.
But I think speaking of that building, I think that's also a wonderful example of, say, proper conservation, because you have a building that's so old because it was built in the 1800s, and then you have a new function coming in. You have Mercedes Benz, so you know for definite that the building is going to be taken care of. So again, that's a nice way to actually bridge a new function to an old building. So that's what I think all of us would like. We wouldn't want to lose the buildings, but at the same time, we wouldn't want them to sit there unused and slowly die.
Mm. Yeah.
I think
But
even now the Ripon building is not fully used, right? It's only partly used. So the other parts of the building is still like deteriorating slowly.
Parts of it, yeah, they've also built a new building right behind it, Amma
Yeah.
Maladai, and yeah, so yeah. No, but again, with government buildings, you never know what's going on inside. So it's a wild guess for all of us. Yeah.
no, but how hard is it? Like, let's say I have a business, or like I want to move into a place, but I want to conserve the building. How hard is it actually to do that for me? Like, is it really expensive, or to do it properly, or as as a normal person that sees a heritage building and has the chance to start a business there, or like move in? How hard is it for me to do that responsibly?
See, I would say it's actually not quite hard, because what we've come to realize based on a number of case studies is that the amount of time, energy, effort, and money that you actually put in demolishing the building and building a new one in its place is actually greater than what you would spend when you actually conserve the building, because
Oh, okay.
you're not using new materials. You're using the materials that are already there. You're just strengthening them up. You're also providing labor to a lot of these crafts that are lost otherwise, because
Hmm.
the timber that you have in the older buildings, the glass that you have in the older buildings are totally different, and the way that they are laid and the way that they are built inside the building is totally different from what they do today. So it's again, you're supporting heritage in all forms. So it's just not the building, but also the people who work with heritage, with crafts. So, I mean, personally, I would definitely go in favor of that, because then you also, because sustainability is something that all of us are talking a lot right now, and we're trying to be sustainable in all that we do. And this is the best way of being sustainable. Like,
Hmm.
you don't
Yeah.
contribute to actually constructing a new building. Again, you have material, you have wastage. All of that doesn't happen, and you just conserve the building.
And building things is a huge CO2 emitter for people who don't know. Like when concrete hardens, it emits a lot of CO2. Now you can find out how much a country is developing by just looking at how much CO2 they're emitting because of the construction that is taking place. Like China has like some unbelievable numbers of CO2 emissions just because of how fast they're developing and how fast they're constructing now. So like, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, you just preserve our old buildings and not need to build new ones. We won't even we'll be greener as a city also.
Yeah, and they're beautiful to look at as well, and to live in as well. So why would you want to pull that down and build something else in its place?
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything like what are you like a building that like is built very recently, but you think will be like a trademark identity of Chennai of the future? Like 30 years from now, people will talk about that building like Ribbon Building.
Oh, I know it's not a popular opinion, but I would definitely say the government hospital, or whatever it was supposed to be earlier, and then the government hospital, which is on Mount Road. Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be because you can see it on Mount Road. When you go around Mount Road, you can see it from everywhere, and it's sort of become like one of the things that make Chennai. So
no, I agree. I agree. I think every time I land in Chennai, like I'm coming, I see it. I'm like, yes, home is here. That in Chepauk Stadium. Okay, we're here. Let's go. Yeah, no, I agree. The now hospital is definitely like I think I hope I don't maybe having a hospital is a good thing, but I hope it becomes something that's open to the public where they can go and just marvel at the architecture and things like that.
Definitely, I hope the same. Yeah.
And I also think it will be part of old Chennai, right? Because by the time I'm sure, like OMR, ECR will become the new Chennai, Velachery side. I don't know. I'm from Perangudi, so I'm a little biased, but of course.
so you want it to become?
I don't know. Okay, I'll be very honest. My favorite part of Chennai is not in Bessie, the smaller roads inside, like the roads that connect to Fifth Avenue, those kind of roads, the kuti roads. I'll even move into a small hut in Besanagar just so I can wake up and walk in that area all day. Like I absolutely love the I don't know, aesthetic and the good memories I've had there. And I don't know, like I said, right? It's a real. I think again, it's a real melting pot of culture. Because they have trees. I love the road with trees. Like Chennai, if you find the road with trees, you'll be like, okay, this is. I don't know. I'm biased because I mean, I just like roads and trees. I like the, like you said, it sort of preserves the nature of the place, and you construct things like roads there. I really think that's an excellent aesthetic to Chennai.
And I also think it's the experiences that you have there that sort of makes it more special to you. It's because you can't particularly relate to anything unless and until you've actually gone there, had an experience, and you want to remember it that way. But again, I'm a marina person, so I'm not able to actually relate to you. So
you're one of I should have known when you mentioned it. I should have known. Okay.
I'm a neutral person. I like
you like beaches.
I like Broken Bridge.
Okay.
I literally like between. Broken Bridge is one aesthetic place, guys. The place the Adyar meets the sea. You can see the waves coming from both sides when it's windy. It's a beautiful place. I think that's the best part of Chennai.
Best part of Chennai. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You'd like to go that far.
I think if you stand towards the sea, on your left hand side you will see Leela Palace, like the luxury of Chennai. And then on your right behind it you will see Theosophical Society, the greenery of Chennai. So the concrete and the green, and then you see the blue and the yellow sands. I think that signifies like all of Chennai in the one place. And you also have the turtle sanctuary, like when the turtles. That's where they house the turtle eggs. Near Broken Bridge. See, conservation also. Broken Bridge is
nice. You make a strong case, sir. We'll give you that.
Yeah.
Hey, there's also a very old building. I don't know what it is. Okay, if you stand on Broken Bridge and look at Theosophical Society, there's a red sandstone building inside Theosophical Society. You know what it is?
I don't know. It must be the library, I'm guessing. But no, I'm not aware of all of the buildings inside the Theosophical Society. So I've just gone there once. So
I've never been. So, but that building is really pretty. It'll be like poking out through all the trees.
Okay, time to find out what building that is.
Yeah, post-lockdown mission.
Yeah,
post-lockdown mission.
But okay, one thing, like what's been really hard preserving in culture, like in terms of heritage today? Like you as an organization, you might have pursued a couple of things, right? Uh, what is like the common theme that you found across all your projects that's sort of becoming a barrier to sort of protect heritage?
Okay, the obvious answer is funds, because that's what happens to all of the projects. But I would definitely say a lack of uh, sensitivity and awareness, because uh, it's a common thing. Padasidane idukku why, like it's there's no awareness about the fact that that particular structure holds so much in it that you definitely need to preserve it. So definitely lack of sensitivity and awareness would be my top, and followed by funds for heritage specifically. Because
Mm.
again, when you say I would say when the government starts with, say, I'm restoring this project, they don't necessarily bring in people who have expertise. So you're
Mm.
restoring the building, but then you're not being sensitive to its fabric. You're bringing in new materials like glass, like concrete, which don't react well with the older building that would have been made from, say, lime, which is much more stronger than concrete. So when you do that, you're again erasing the identity of the building essentially. When you look at it, it looks all brand new, bright, fine, good job. But underneath all of that, you definitely not taken into consideration its identity and being respectful to that. So yeah, I think awareness is definitely needed in the city.
I also think, like, I don't know, this is something I personally feel like this the identity of Chennai, like, I am part of Chennai, or Chennai da, is sort of dying. I don't know why. Like, like Chennai is becoming a city. That's the best way I can explain it, where everybody just lives in their apartment and just, I don't know, goes to the malls on the weekends, and that's about it. Equations over. I don't know. Maybe that's just very. Maybe I have a very skewed perspective at what people are doing, but I don't know. It's. I think that needs to change. Like things like I was thinking about it, right? Like if I wasn't with my friends, what would I do in Chennai? And then apart from Satyam Cinemas and CSK matches, I couldn't think of anything. Like which itself is a great thing. Like that itself has a lot of cultural value to it from the city's perspective. But like things like heritage walks and things like it didn't even like I didn't even know something like that was there before I looked into your website. Uh, so I think but I think something like that would be sort of common knowledge of a lot of people who are actively looking at things to do or actively trying to engage with the city. Like
Yeah.
I always say this, right? The city needs to speak to you. Like
Mm.
I don't know how to exactly say it, but like it's sort of this emotional thing you have the city. There's a back and forth with the city you have every time when you're in traffic. You just look at the road, and the city's just like, I don't know, bro. Something happened. So I think uh, I think as people in the city, we just need to engage with the city more.
Yeah.
Look at our roads more, and I think that's a dying thing. That use I maybe that's the. I mean, again, I was a kid when I thought the city was engaging with people, but maybe I was just really looking at the surroundings with
Mm.
from with the kids lens, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. But maybe it's always been like this, or maybe I'm just starting to, or maybe it's actually dying down. I don't know. What do you think of that? Do you think it's a thing that was there and it died off, or uh, it's always been this way, and in fact it's growing now or something?
No, it's interesting how you say that the city speaks, because I definitely think it does speak, but we choose not to listen. A lot of us, or we just choose to listen to parts that we want to, like you said, the beach, the malls. But then there's so much more. Like just going back to what I said earlier, if you pause and if you look around, there's so much more that the city is speaking, and you need to just listen. Anything, taking a stroll down any road in the city would open up so much to you. And like I said, the ice house incident is so fascinating for me, because that was just one piece of trivia, but then I pause every time I go by that road just because of that one piece of trivia. So I think that can happen for most of the roads in the city. Like you learn something about, say, this particular shop, say it was built in the 1800s, then you tend to always, whenever you go by that road, you tend to see and look at the people working there and be like, oh, it's so old. So I think it's just a matter of making ourselves more aware about what's there in the city, and keeping up with it. I think we've lost it, and it's time to actually get back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I completely
So,
agree.
like,
Yeah,
I'm
go
a
on,
bit
sorry.
optimistic. Yeah, I'm a bit optimistic. Like you see, like so many pages now coming up to preserve heritage, like your page itself. Like you have people talking about why we should go to the roast milk shop in Mylapore,
Mm.
or why we should go to I don't know Nair mess instead of Sanava and Sangeeta. Like we should like taste authentic Chennai.
Mm.
That wave I think is coming back. But there is this another way where people don't know the Kannavara library. People don't go to the Egmore Museum. Yeah, it's like balance. They both
It's
are
so
happening.
it's so scary that a lot of people haven't been to the museum. Like I'm
I,
like,
I'm
Yeah.
I'm part of this list. I haven't been to the museum.
Wait,
Yeah, I
have
know. Yeah, I haven't been
what?
to the museum. Yeah, I'm on proper traitor.
School trip you never been to the museum, huh?
Oh, we'll fix it, dude. Okay, tomorrow, Monday, we'll go. We'll wear masks and we'll
How
go.
will, how will
the
we
museum's
go?
closed.
Museum's
Yeah.
closed. Okay, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
See, yeah. What to do?
But so the
I
fun
live
fact
Chennai
about the
Miga
fun fact about the museum is that again, so you have the Kannamara library, but then you go to the main library, but no one knows that there's an old library at the back, which is the library that you see in the pictures with the British built. It's a beautiful library, but no one knows that there's an old library in the back. In fact, no one knows that there's so many different buildings in the museum complex. Because from the outside, you only see like a row of 3-4 buildings, and then you see really bad ones in between that have been recently constructed. But then, okay, then you go inside, and there's so much in the complex that you don't see. I think
Yeah.
I think all of us have to maybe make a bucket list of things that we haven't yet seen or done in Chennai and just get it ticked off.
I think that needs to be like a common. So like I was thinking about this, right? Of like I need to like again, right? I moved to Chennai like about 9 years back only. So like I actually grew up in Bangalore. So in Bangalore, I've gone to Vishweshwara Museum and all like the heritage places there. But then I came to Chennai. But I think that's what I meant, right? Chennai has an active culture. Like Satyam Cinemas was there. Like the temple culture was there. Like things like Santom Church, all this was there. Like actively, people were doing things. They weren't like living in the past, or they didn't need to tap into something to experience heritage or culture. You know what I mean? Like CSK matches were happening. Uh, that's why I think it never really struck me. And then when I moved to Sydney for a while, I was like, "Hey, bro, what do you mean you're going to this old building just so?" So because the most we did there was go to cafes and have like food, and I'm like, okay, but that's all, right? What else? What else does this have? Like so and that was a very huge. That was a huge. Okay, again, I don't want to paint like Sydney is a cultureless place. Like they have surfing, they have beaches, they have they have their own thing. But I don't know. It was less active than Chennai is. So I think we need like one common repository where we can just be like, okay, how to experience culture from the past. Like take a pause from what I'm doing right now. Be very mindful and engage in like other things.
Wait,
Yeah.
on that note, Kannamara Library is one of the 4 depositories of India. So every newspaper article ever, every newspaper ever published in India, and almost I think every book ever published, you have one copy in Kannamara Library.
Yeah, so
if
for
you-
that you need to go to the old library, and then when you
Ah.
ask, so it's a very fun process. I mean, I'm sounding too much excited about this because when you go there and you sign your name, you ask them, so they give you this big stack of newspapers. You can just sift through all of them, and like pretty old newspapers. So they have this huge repository, which is just mind blowing. But
Yeah.
I guess now it's also become a matter of convenience. Like you have Google, you have all of these online archives, and you just type in something, you can download a PDF, read through it. So for some people, it's definitely a matter of convenience, but maybe just for an experience, just to see how this library is, I think all of us should definitely pay it a visit.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. But
No, I
to
completely
me,
agree with that.
yeah, but like ever since I was a kid, the one thing, how many times I see completely like humbling experience. Have you been to the natural history side of the Chennai Museum, the Egmore Museum?
Oh, no. No.
There's this huge whale skeleton. I don't know how they brought it in or why they brought it in. There's this huge whale and this huge skeleton of a whale, and that is when you have the scale, right, of how big the whale actually is. Before that, it's only like reading; you can't even comprehend the size.
Yeah.
And then they have a huge whale just strung up on the ceiling, like you can walk under it, and it's just massive. Like it's a huge, like just bones, and like unbelievable.
Yeah, now you've painted a picture, so I think we need to go
Yeah.
go see it once. Yeah.
I really should go. Yeah, it'll become public humiliation if I say I will go. I haven't gone to Egmore, but I completely agree with the convenience bit, right? Like even like I think people are so the fact that information is so accessible now. We've forgotten that information was something that was hidden and it was hard to get at some point. And like only when you mention the fact that people just download PDFs now, I'm like, oh yeah, there was a point in time where people had to go and get
Literally
like,
go.
yeah, like the activation energy needed to do something like that is so much. It's not just like, okay, I will open new tab.
And it's also a matter of like very specific. So if you have a project that you definitely need to go to the library for, only then do you think, okay, fine, I'll go. It's not like something you do voluntarily, like how we discuss, we need to go here, there. That's something we don't do. It's like, okay, I need to get stuff for this project, so I'm going to the library. That's it. I'm just looking at the stuff in front of me, not looking at the building, and then I'm leaving the building. That's
Yeah, business, not leisure. Like you don't do it for yourself, you do it for another reason.
Yeah.
I get that. That's pretty sad. Yeah, but I think there should be one repository where people should just be like, okay, go here, you will actively engage in some culture and you'll become more of a Chennaiite.
Like a Chennai app.
Huh?
Like a Chennai app.
A Chennai app.
Maybe
Oh,
fun.
that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Yeah.
No, the best part is it should not tell you where you're going. It should just be a compass. Like you should just follow the compass and you should just keep walking and it'll say you've arrived. And you look
That'll
around
be
and
cool.
search for. Yeah, you
That'll
search
actually
for
be
what.
very
or,
cool.
or maybe a riddle that you add just for them to think where they're going to. That should also be fun.
Yeah. That'll actually be a cool app. You need to choose you're walking or you're going by car or by bus or whatever, and then we just tell them take this bus and they just get it. Now walk here. It should be doable. I think it's not impossible to develop.
Again, going by
Really
bus
cool.
is also something that's sadly dying.
Wait, what? No, it's not.
Yeah,
I still can't sit on a bus.
There are.
The last
Have
time
you
I
been?
sat at a 102 bus was like what? When I was very small and they let me sit in the ladies' seat. That's the last time I was able to sit in the 102 bus.
Oh, that bus is insanely crowded. Yeah.
The day I would say, okay, I comfortably got the seat next to the window and no one sat next to me in 102. Like, oh shit, Chennai's culture is dying, bro.
Yeah, you have to go to the bus stop, be the first in line, and get on immediately. You can't.
It's like some. No, I went to Broadway one day. Okay, just to. So my goal is I'll go to Perangudi. So I usually like whenever I go to Adyar Depot or Adyar side, I take the 102 and I figure out something else from there. But I'm like, okay, I have to like first I want to know where this goes. Like I want to go all the way to
Bus
like
goes
the
to-
Sarana Bhavan, Pascona types. So I got and I realized, wait, if I get on this bus now. So there are actually a lot of bus going to like Adyar and then I could just take Perangudi or something like that. But I was like, no, I will wait for the 102. I will sit next to the the driver's seat with a lot of legroom.
Yeah.
I will sit there next to the window. No one will sit next to me. I will travel all the way to Perangudi. That was like one. So I spent one full day for that. I think I left the house at 3:30 and then I just like roaming around Pascona for a while. And I got like a 6 o'clock bus and I came home at like good 7:30. It was a nice 1.5 hour journey. Just sitting there, went across the beach. It was damn wholesome.
Oh yeah, for you, going anywhere is like a day trip.
Hey guys, what's up? You just saw part 1 of our collaboration with Madras Inherited. Do check out part 2. There's some more exciting stuff about Chennai coming right up.